Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today, we are going to take a trip into the world of live theater, and we're going to be interviewing a friend of mine that I met in the Bay Area about 5 years ago when I was volunteering for this theater in Redwood City called the Dragon Theater. Her name is Roberta Inscho. I've never been able to pronounce her last name. I hope I pronounced it right and everything. I'll ask her. And we're going to be talking about just about her background and about theater and stuff. I don't talk enough about theater on this show, and I really want to. Theater is something I'm very fascinated by. I love actors very much so, and I just admire their work and everything. And so I want to talk to Roberta about theater and everything like that. And so, yeah, here is my interview with Roberta Inscho. Hi, Roberta.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Tommy?
Oh, I am great. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I just hope I pronounced your name right at the beginning.
No worries. It's Inscho Kovac.
Inscho. Okay, I didn't know if it was that or Inscho or something like
Yeah,
that.
I get that a lot, yeah.
Okay. So how's the South? Is it hot down there?
Very hot, very humid.
Yeah, I'm up in Redding where it's friggin' hot down here. We had some fires up here for a couple of weeks, which is really scary. And like the sun's been gone. It's been very muggy out. The sun has been red. It's really scary.
Wow, yeah, I've been following the fires. It's not ideal.
Yeah, we had to be evacuated for the weekend over on my side. Unfortunately, it was gone by Monday. But I feel sorry for all the people whose houses burned down and all the ones that moved all the way to Bernie, where my aunt is, and she had to evacuate. But she finally got home this past weekend.
Wow. Well, I'm glad to hear you are all okay.
Oh, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. So we met about 5 years ago when I was volunteering at the Dragon Theater in Redwood City, which was a crazy time. I'll get into that in a little bit, but I want to go all the way back to the beginning. So where are you from originally?
Well, I was born and raised in Modesto, California.
Mm-hmm.
But I moved to the Bay Area in 2006, I think. And that's kind of been home ever since until now I'm here in Memphis, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. Did you know as a kid you wanted to act on stage?
I actually consider myself a bit of a theater late bloomer. I did art and choral singing and orchestra when I was younger, but I didn't discover theater really until my junior year of high school, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So I really had no idea what being an actor or even what a director was at the time. It was kind of a slow learning process for me.
Mm-hmm. So from the time you were a kid until junior year in high school, you didn't like have an early training. You didn't do community theater or any of that.
No. All of my training that I had at that time was voice work. So singing, chorus, learning how to read music, playing instruments. So that was pretty much everything I did, and it was all in school training. I did not grow up affluent, so I took advantage extracurricular that my school would provide to me so that I could have that extra learning.
Oh, that's great. So your parents took you to shows and took you to movies?
No, not really. Actually, I was raised by my mom, and until I moved out. I moved out very early when I was 16.
Mm-hmm.
But she was not really into the art. So we actually never went on trips to see theater. Movies occasionally, but I don't know, that just wasn't anything that she did with us as kids.
Mm-hmm. How many of you were there?
Myself, and I have a half-sister.
Is she older or younger?
She's 5 years younger. We are not close, unfortunately.
I know how it is. I have a brother who's 9 years older than me, and we're not that close either. We've tried and stuff, still trying. He drives me crazy. And there's a part of me that loves him, but another part, it's not part. He's got a part of his personality I don't like, so
Yeah.
I can relate to that. But were you influenced by anybody that you saw in movies?
Let me see. Well, I would say that I was such a pop music enthusiast. So I would say my influences more were in music than in TV or film. Although I will admit to having a major crush on Jonathan Taylor Thomas when I was young. I don't know if you know who that is, but he was...
he was on Home Improvement?
Yeah, Home Improvement.
Yep.
Young stud at the time. I remember just getting all of those, like, silly little magazines that they would print for kids and get the posters of his face and put them up on my walls. My walls were littered with all kinds of pop artist posters and people that I admired. But yeah, mostly music. I remember when Mariah Carey's Hero song came out, I was obsessed. I sang it everywhere I went, and I even used it as an audition to get into an advanced choir at the time, and I got in. So I remember being very heavily influenced by pop artists and Mariah Carey in general.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, we just lost Aretha Franklin a couple days ago.
I know, that was so heartbreaking. I feel like everyone's feeling that right now.
Yeah, I sure am. I mean, she was just a pioneer of bringing feminism to pop music, and soul. And it's a great loss.
Absolutely.
A sad loss. She was great. Even in the 80s, when the music overall she was doing wasn't great, but she still was. She still had that great voice.
She is a pioneer of her time, and she will always be remembered for sure.
Mm-hmm. So when you started acting, what kind of roles did you play?
Well, let's see. It was kind of an accidental start into acting. So my first experience with theater ever was my junior year of high school. We were performing 12 Angry Jurors,
Mm-hmm.
and I was actually stage managing the show just to learn about theater because, again, it was my very, very first time. And I remember juror number 12 got very ill, and unfortunately she could not continue. And it was literally a week before Tech Week, which is when we put everything together, lights, sound, costumes, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So we were very, very close to performances, and she unfortunately had to drop. And I remember my director and my teacher, mentor at the time, Mrs. Fitzgerald, turned to me and she said, "You know the part. You can play it." And I was auditioned for. At the moment, I cannot remember the title, but it was a very comedic character, an old lady, lots of personality, high comedy, and I just remember loving that so much as well. And since then, I'm not actually acting a lot these days, but comic roles are generally what I get cast in the most.
Mm-hmm. Comic roles, yeah, the friend, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, sidekick, comedian, that kind of role.
Oh, nothing wrong with that. I've always wanted to be that and stuff. I from the time I was 4 years old, I was performing for my family after dinner, doing these imaginary Saturday Night Live sketches and impersonating my favorite actors and comedians and stuff like that. I never really had a formal acting training. I've been to acting classes, and when I was in high school, I auditioned for The Sound of Music my sophomore year, and I didn't get it because I couldn't dance and I couldn't sing. And so I was a little discouraged over that, so I started doing stage crew, handling props backstage and stuff. And the last time I did that was 4 years ago for Broadway by the Bay in Redwood City. The last time I did that. And I tried to do it again not too long ago. Over here in Reading, it's not paid, though. It's volunteer stuff. But
yeah,
I enjoy doing it, though.
that's awesome. You know, everyone who works backstage is so underappreciated, I think. They just work so hard, and they don't get any of the credit because they're not seen on stage. So we're always so grateful for the work that people do backstage. So thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. Yeah, I would agree with that. In fact, do you want to hear a story that's a little politically incorrect?
Sure.
When I was in high school, there was this girl who was a year younger than me who acted in all the plays, and she was nice, but she was kind of a spoiled rich girl, bratty kind of girl, and just full of herself and stuff. She I didn't know her too well, but she just always looked like she was always mad about something, and she was kind of quiet and everything. I got to know her a little bit towards the end, and the year after I graduated high school, we're talking on AOL chat messenger. This was 2001. That's how long ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's how long ago it was. And she told me that when she was doing plays, I worked with her. I was doing backstage. She told me backstage when she was doing plays, she used to give all the guys in the cast blowjobs. And yeah, and now I'm not easily offended by any means. It's very hard to offend me, but this was a rare exception only because I wasn't one of those guys. And that will give you proof of just how underappreciated us backstage people are.
Cheeky, yes.
Yes. And I ran into her about 6 years later. She was very nice. She was happy to see me. I guess maturity had kicked in and everything. But then I went to her 10-year reunion because I was dating a girl in her class at the time. And she was very rude, very just standoffish to me and to a lot of people there. It was weird.
Oh, well, I always try to remember that their behavior is not a reflection of me, and
Yeah.
they probably have something bigger going on that has absolutely nothing to do with me. So it kind of helps me remember it's something that they're dealing with.
Absolutely, I agree. But yeah, that was kind of strange, though. Yeah, I mean, I'm working on the show, and I didn't know any of that, and none of the guys told me, and I hung out, and I knew all the guys. They never told me about it. It was funny. So did you?
Who knows if it's actually true, right?
You think maybe she made it up just to I don't know, I don't know, arouse me or something.
No, I'm not sure. You know, young women feel like they often have things to prove, or they have to perform a certain way or look a certain way. And sometimes when we're young, we say and do stupid things that aren't actually true because we think we have to get attention.
Oh yeah, I certainly did that. You know, I did that for a long time. And after my accident, it kind of went away and changed me because people have been telling me lately, God, Tommy, you are the most blunt and honest I have ever seen you in all the years I've known you. And I was like, yeah, well, you know, having an accident, it changes your perspective and it makes you a different person, you know. And in some cases, it can be very bad, and sometimes it can be really good. You know, in my case, I think it turned out good, and I also think it turned out, you know, it turned out. I mean, it's good. It's also it's kind of dangerous in a way because sometimes I can say things that you know just are a little too much for people and stuff. But you know, what can you do?
Absolutely. When you go through a life-changing experience, of course it will change you. That's absolutely normal, and that's what life is all about. Actually, we go through a series of changes. It's how you handle them that helps you grow and be a stronger person.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I still, you know, I'm still a boy in many ways, but I handle adult situations like an adult now, and I didn't do that before.
Good for you.
Thank you, thank you. So did you go to college?
I did, and I'm currently back at school right now.
Nice,
So I went to my undergrad I began at the University of California, Santa Cruz.
nice.
I was there for a couple years, but it just ended up not being a very good fit for me, so I left. And at the time, I wasn't sure that I was going to even go back to school, or that at the time, I also didn't even know that theater was the right fit for me. And it was one of those hard life experiences. So I took a couple years off, and then found myself back at school unexpectedly when I went with a friend to visit a college, California State University, East Bay in Hayward, California.
Mm-hmm.
She was already signed up to go. She was in photography, and at the time I was living back in Modesto with my grandfather, and so she asked me to drive up to see the college with her, and I remember just going and loving it so much. And the day that we went, there was actually a show playing in the theater department, and so we just spontaneously saw it, and I felt like a good connection. I hadn't even met anybody yet. So I applied, and I got in, and went back to school, and I graduated in 2009, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm back at school again, getting my MFA in directing at the University of Memphis.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so awesome.
Thank you.
What was it about what was it about the Santa Cruz that you didn't like?
Well, there was a couple issues in general, but what happened was, um, uh, they weren't doing a lot of musical theater, which was what I was most interested in at the time.
Oh yeah.
And they did a lot of theory, which is very beneficial, but I was fresh out of high school. I had no idea what theater theory was. So I was taking some really heavy course loads as a freshman and just studying theater, and I wanted to do theater. I wanted to be in theater. I wanted to do the thing. And I was just stuck in a classroom theoreticizing everything from the Greek to Shakespeare to Ibsen to Chekhov. And at the time, I had no idea
Mm-hmm.
So that compounded with I had an injury at the time, and it just felt like a good time to just take a break. I think the reason why I went to college was because that's what we were told to do. You graduate high school, you go to college, and had I known myself a little better at that age, I might have gone to community college first.
Yeah, Santa Cruz. It's a beautiful town. It's very small, very intimate, very contained. You know, but you got to go to the boardwalk every summer. I mean, it's just breathtaking to go up there to the boardwalk.
Yeah, I went a few times when I was there, and I remember it very fondly. But when you're in school, I guess that wasn't really a priority for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that. I got to go three more times in the summertime before I moved, and got to see the free concerts and stuff. I just love it. I love going up there and doing that.
Yeah, they do lots of fun programming in the summer, absolutely.
Yeah, but you are right though. Yeah, Santa Cruz is not a theater town, and that it's starting though to get a stand up comedy thing going over there. I was actually I've actually been booked for a couple shows before up there, and unfortunately I couldn't make either one of them. But they're starting to get stand up comedy up there, which is a good thing.
Great.
Yeah. So you did theater in college, especially when you went up to the Bay Area to Hayward,
Mm-hmm.
right, and stuff.
Yes.
So when you got to the Bay Area and you finished college and everything, did you immediately start doing theater like at certain companies?
Yeah, I was hired with a company in Mountain View, California, to teach in their summer art program. So the company is called Peninsula Youth Theater.
Right.
And basically, right after my undergrad, I was hired to work in their summer program, teaching every couple weeks a new group of young people, ages 8 to 16,
Mm-hmm.
and we would work on putting on a play. We would make the sets, we would make the costumes, we would stage the play, and that was my very, very first experience right out of undergrad. And it was so wonderful because even though we weren't doing like the kinds of plays you would see or musicals that you would see in a community theater or a professional theater, it was great practice teaching me how to manage large groups of people on stage, how to communicate to actors. So I was learning a lot of the basic directing techniques in the moment, which I didn't even realize until much, much later. And then I loved the company so much that I just kind of continued growing with them and moving up and doing more things. And I stayed with them until I moved out here to Memphis last year.
Mm-hmm. And how did the dragon come into your life?
Oh, yes, Dragon Theater. Well, as you know, it's very expensive to live in the Bay Area.
Right.
So I was just needing another job opportunity, and I don't know. I either saw it on Facebook or someone recommended to me, and I liked that I could, just go when I had the time. So it was just an opportunity to make an extra few dollars when I was available.
Mm-hmm. Did you start did you start it when it was still in Palo Alto?
No, I only had heard about it when it's in Redwood City.
Okay, yeah. How I got to the Dragon was a pretty unique situation. I had lost my day job, um, in November of 2012, working at Michael's Arts and Crafts. I was bouncing at a bar at nighttime, making money under the table. Um, this guy I knew who's a comedian was hosting a comedy show this one night only at the Dragon, and I had just heard about the Dragon. It came from Palo Alto, had been around for a while, and all that stuff. I missed the show, but then around summertime, I wanted to get another day job, and so I was applying for jobs, having interviews, and getting nothing. And someone told me, you ought to volunteer for something, and it might lead to paid work. And I said, yeah, I should do that then. And I was like, let's see, I love theater, and there's volunteers in theater, and I haven't done theaters since high school, so I think I'll get into that. So um, I tried with all these different companies and stuff, but the Dragon was the first one that responded. And so I went to their orientation. I volunteered at least 6 times for the one that you worked on, and Miss Reardon Drinks a Little.
Yes.
Yes.
I was the assistant director for that show.
Yes. And I loved that show, and so I kept volunteering because nobody else was volunteering and stuff, and I just had a great time. And then after that, I did like 6 performances of Rich and Famous, and then I love that show actually a lot more. And then I did about six shows of David Mamet's November. This was all in that 4 or 5 month time range and stuff. And while I was there, around around the time I did Rich and Famous, Meredith, she needed 2 volunteers for the concessions, and so a couple of times I was paired up with this one woman. She was very nice, but instead of helping me, she spent more time standing around drinking glasses of wine. And after I think November had just wrapped, if I'm not mistaken, or it was about to, we had an end of the year Christmas party, and Meredith announced during it that that woman was going to be a member of the board of trustees for the Dragon, and I was very furious because I had volunteered all this much time, worked my ass off, and she did nothing. And it's not I didn't want to be a board of trustees, but I wanted a paid job,
Right.
And I talked to her about that, and she was like, "Oh, all our positions are filled, but you can keep volunteering and all this stuff." And I just like, I'm done. So, long story short, in 2014, I was homeless and going through hard times. I worked a couple jobs and stuff. And then by the end of the year, I missed the Dragon, so I went back and volunteered a couple times. And then had my car accident in January 2015. And then me and Kimberly, you know her, right?
Yep.
We started talking, and she suggested that I take the seminar about putting on a one-man show in the future. And so I did that, and then she got me compensation tickets for some show that was there. I forget what it was called, but it was a 17th century show about lesbianism, and it was really good, really funny. I liked it a lot. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. I stopped going to the Dragon after that because I just think I always got a bad vibe with Meredith. I don't think that she liked me very much, and she never took the time to say, hey, thank you for volunteering, you're doing good, or whatever. So I just decided I wasn't going to wear out my welcome anymore.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. It is definitely the responsibility of the artistic director to acknowledge the work of volunteers.
Yeah, I mean,
I believe she's not working there anymore. I don't know if you heard, but they hired a new director.
Yeah, from what I've been told, she's actually leaving after December, and they got somebody else to replace her, and I think that's a good thing because maybe there'll be a little bit more room for, more creative people and less competitiveness. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
possibly, when there's new leadership, things grow and change. That's normal for sure.
yeah, and you were one of the few ones there that were very nice to me and treated me good, I have to say.
Oh, thank you. I mean, and thank you for your time there because what a help you were.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean, I became Facebook friends with Sheila. After that, we talk sometimes. I asked her if she wanted to do the show, but she's really busy and stuff. I wanted to hear about being taught by Alan Arkin and all that stuff, but she's super busy. I talked to her. She's nice to me and stuff. That one older lady who's in the play, Jean Conger, she was very nice to me. I talked to her too on Facebook and stuff. And then Mary Lou Torrey,
Mm-hmm.
she was also nice to me too and stuff. And then the people who did the shows after that didn't really talk to them all that much. They were a little bit standoffish and everything, but yeah, you were all very nice to me the most. Jason, Jason was kind of moody. Sometimes I thought he liked me, and sometimes I thought he didn't. And after Rich and Famous, that's when he left and became a flight attendant. And then there was all these different box office people coming in after that.
Yeah, that things changed quite a bit then. Yeah.
Yeah, with all those ones and stuff. Yeah, and at the end of 2014, I did props for Broadway by the Bay at this show. It was a production of Anything Goes, and they let me go opening night. There was this girl who was helping me with the props. Um, I found out much later she was mentally unstable and stuff. She and I we hung out after the last rehearsal the night before opening night, and we ended up in bed together. And then I come in for opening night and find out that they're letting me go because they don't think that they need a prop man anymore. And then so I'm like sticking around watching the show, and then they invited me to the after party because they felt bad that they had to let me go and stuff. And I find out from a couple of people that she was saying some bad things about me.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, and then long after I got out of the hospital and stuff, I find out some friends of mine know her, and the same thing happened to them. And so she apparently has an MO of that. And so, yeah, it was a weird thing with that. But that was when I learned, okay, I gotta stop mixing business with pleasure because otherwise I'm gonna pay the price for it, you know.
Yeah.
So like everything I do now, I keep it strictly professional, especially now when I want to pursue show business and everything, and stuff. I figure the right one will come along. The right one will come along.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Did you ever read that script I emailed you a couple of years ago?
I yes, I did read most of it. It's been a while since I've looked at it.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't remember anything about it because it was a long time ago. But yeah, I was wondering what you thought about it and stuff because I was very proud of it. I thought it came out pretty funny and pretty raunchy, like I wanted it to. And I couldn't get anybody to cooperate or help me with like an independent production of it, so I've kind of put it on the back burner and stuff. But I got some other projects that I'm trying to move forward with, and fortunately I got some people who are willing to help with those.
It's great. I really admire that you're always working on a passion project. You always have something, an iron in the fire. So keep that up. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, an iron in the fire. That's a very very special term. I have to say.
Oh, I
You rarely ever hear that term.
Oh, yes.
But I was glad you brought it up because, yes, I would agree. That's a very special term because no one ever uses it.
Yes.
So, when you decided that you were going to leave the Bay Area, with the Bay Area being expensive and all, like, why Memphis of all places?
Well, I had been applying to grad school, and this is just where I ended up. When you apply for grad school as a director, they are very coveted, very few positions.
Mm-hmm.
So I had been applying for a couple years before,
Mm-hmm.
and it just ended up being a good fit, and that they wanted me, and I wanted to be there, and so it kind of happened. Um, and they offered, a nice scholarship assistantship situation, which meant that I could afford it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
of course, I still had to take out loans and such, which is not ideal, but I just can't work while I'm in the program, so that is the reality of the situation. So it just ended up working out, and although Memphis wasn't my first choice on location, the school itself is really amazing, so I'm very happy to be here.
Oh, that's great. And what's the comparison of the cost of living out there as opposed to the Bay Area?
Oh, so different. Of course, every um, neighborhood here has its different price points, just like in the Bay Area. But to give you an idea, I was paying for a small studio apartment in Santa Clara, California,
Mm-hmm.
and while I was there, I think I paid like $750, which is very reasonable for the Bay Area, but still
Yeah.
very expensive for me at the time. But now I have a two-bedroom apartment that I share, and the rent here is $575.
Still
And
a little high, but not bad.
um, yeah, I mean, very affordable for me because we split that.
Mm-hmm.
Very different. A two-bedroom apartment, two-bedroom, one bathroom for $575 versus a studio for over $700 felt like a good compromise.
Yeah, I have a friend. She's been in Dallas, Texas, for 5 years, and she pays $650 for a house over there.
Yes. Well, I'm sure if I looked at houses, it would probably be more affordable, but I'm not interested in that responsibility right now.
Yeah, I mean, over here at this, we live in an apartment, a country apartment complex. It's called townhouses. It's like your own little house, pretty much. And we pay 1150 here, and that's pretty close to how much we were paying for an apartment in 2004 in San Carlos.
Yes.
We paid.
California has one of the highest housing markets.
I know, and it's got to stop. It's just getting to be too much for people. They're destroying so many people's dreams. You know,
It is hard, yes. The tech business in California is booming, which makes rent go up.
yeah. I'm praying for the day that it stops booming and so many people move out and go back to New York.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God! So you got to you got to Santa Clara like right when the boom was starting to take off, right?
um, I don't know. So I was living in my apartment for 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
and I left
yeah. Levi Stadium.
Yeah, the new Levi Stadium, exactly. So I feel like it has always been booming, so I wouldn't say that I was like there during the beginning of it, but I definitely felt the financial pressures of living in the Bay Area because I had to have multiple jobs. I worked a coffee shop in the morning, my job at Peninsula Youth Theater during the day, and if I wasn't in rehearsals at nighttime, then I was working other odd jobs during the evening. So it was always go, go, go in order to make ends meet, which was very stressful.
Yeah, God, so me, even I did that. So many people did that. Then, oh my God, I just like I don't know how they got through it. It was crazy. Yeah, I was. Oh my God, the year that I was homeless. Oh my God, there was a point where I was There was a point where I'm working security over at Menlo College, and then the campus let me go, and then I was doing security on random select days at the ballpark during the Giants games during the World Series, and towards the end I was doing that, and then I was working the holiday at American Cost Plus for the holiday season, and I was handling props at Broadway by the Bay, and I was a really bad alcoholic. I was drinking a lot, and I never missed a day of work. I was never late, but I just can't believe that I did all that, you know?
Yeah, I hear that, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes we find ways to cope with the stress that's not always ideal for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Do you ever miss the Bay Area, though?
Absolutely. I miss it all the time. It's very different here in the South, so it's just culturally, weather, new people to see. Like I miss it all. Absolutely.
What do you miss the most about it?
Other than the people, the food. Um, in the South here in Memphis, barbecue is the thing that's most popular.
Right.
It's not my favorite, and they don't have a lot of like variety of cuisine, so I miss the like in California I could get pho or Thai food or high quality sushi or whatever. In here it's a little bit more limited.
Yeah, I'm a barbecue guy. I mean, I've heard the best barbecue is in the South. If I was ever there, God, I would just be going crazy eating it because I love barbecue.
Absolutely, yeah. If you love barbecue, this is the place for you. But for me, it's not my most favorite thing.
Oh God, in the Bay Area, there are so many barbecue places, and none of them come close to being really, really good. And part of the reason for that is because they make all those places make their own barbecue sauce, and I don't know what's in the recipe, but it's not that good. It's very, very dry and just flavorless. The barbecue sauce they use,
Mm.
you know, and they make the food the exact same way that a regular fast food restaurant would make food, and that kills it too. And I'm trying to think. There was this one in San Carlos called Emergency Barbecue. It looks like a hospital in the front, and they got delivery trucks, which are ambulances, and their food was just really dry and not that good, in my opinion. I went there twice because I thought maybe the second time would be better, and it wasn't, and so I never went back again after the second time. And I can't believe that place is still open. And then there was this other one that was in San Carlos over on Laurel Street. I went there many, many times with several different owners and managers, and each time was better than the last. I mean, it was yummy, really, really good. One of the few barbecue places, and it changes names. I can't even tell you what the name of it is now.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, there's Dickie's Barbecue, which is not which is a franchise. It's not that great, but it's decent. You know, places like that.
Yeah, I would say that I've never been to any of those because again, I'm not a big barbecue person.
Yeah. What is your favorite food?
Probably um any kind of like Asian, Indian. I love
Hmm.
uh sushi. Probably would be my first favorite. Um, and then I definitely have a soft spot for some good Italian pasta.
Mm-hmm. So you like the fine dining cuisine type of stuff?
No, no, it doesn't have to be like some of the best sushi or Indian food places I've eaten at are like little hole in the wall places. So
Oh,
it doesn't have to be fine dining.
I love sushi. I'm just obsessed with sushi. We have a we,
Yeah, same.
we have a sushi restaurant right around the corner from where I live. Oh God, it's so good. Really expensive though. I can only eat it like maybe like once a year. Like I had it I had it once last year. I'll probably have it again sometime this year before the year is out. But it's pricey. It's really good.
Yes.
I found out my favorite sushi restaurant in the Bay Area got moved to a new location, and I'm so upset because it was in the perfect location. It was this restaurant called Toki's. It was in Foster City, and it's right around the corner from the Foster City Library in this beautiful, secluded part of the area where there's seagulls flying around in this gravel area and stuff. And it was and overlooking the water. It was so beautiful. And they moved it to 4th Avenue in San Mateo where there's like 10 sushi places. And I'm pretty depressed about that.
Uh, yeah. Whenever they move places, I always get bummed about that too.
Yeah, that was the first sushi place I ever ate at, too. It was 10 years ago. And then my other favorite sushi place in San Bruno, Kobe Sushi, they closed down not too long ago, and I knew they were going to do that because the head chef was mysteriously murdered like 6 years ago.
Wow, that is
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, the place went downhill after that happened. I knew that was going to happen. That was sad, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have a special guy in your life?
I'm currently not seeing anyone. It is not a priority for me at the moment.
Yep, like I said, same here. I love being single and being without responsibilities.
It's more that I'm focusing on my career and my life right now, so it's not a lack of responsibility. It's just that I would like to put my responsibilities elsewhere.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm coming from with me pursuing show business and getting all that done and stuff. You know, yeah, there's some days when I want to get married and have kids, and then some days where I just don't because I love where I'm at right now and stuff. And I see so many people in our age group that are married with kids that aren't even qualified to be parents or even be husbands and wives, and I'm like, God, how do they do it? And then are they cognizant to know, that they're not, qualified for this?
Yeah, everybody's on their own path, so I
Hmm.
believe that there's no for me there's no rush watching other people do their thing. Like everybody has their own path in life and do things at their own time.
Hmm. It's just and plus with the world, the way it's going right now and stuff, it's like I don't want to raise a kid, with all this going on, because I don't know what's going to happen,
Yes, I can understand that.
I mean, like politically and the economy and all that stuff, you know. So let's talk about movies for a bit here. What are your favorite movies of all time?
Oh wow. Honestly, I'm not a big movie watcher, but I will say that this summer,
Mm-hmm.
I was working at a job where we live. There was like a bunch of old '90s VHS tapes.
Mm-hmm.
So I rewatched some great '90s classics this summer that I love. Things like Armageddon, Men in Black, Moulin Rouge, and it was just a lot of fun to revisit those.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I go when I was growing up, I went to the movies all the time with my parents. But now it's just I go to like maybe two movies a year because just movies have become so cheesy, so bad. Like we've seen this story before and stuff. And sad thing is too, so many great movies are getting released either streaming and well, actually just streaming, but they also get released in the theaters, but they only last like a weekend and then they're gone. And it's just they don't give movies a chance anymore to develop a following at the box office. You know?
yeah, I again haven't watched a lot of movies recently, but I do. They're so expensive to attend now because
Oh,
it's so expensive to make because they're doing everything in 3D or digital or green screen or whatever. So it's just a different genre now.
oh yeah. When I went to go see one of the new Star Wars movies a couple of years ago, I paid $16.50 to go see the IMAX 3D version.
Absolutely.
That's just insane. Oh my god. My favorite movie of all time is Back to the Future. Like I love that movie so much. It's got every movie genre I love in it. It's got a great story, great characters, great acting, and to me it's a special movie. It holds a special place in my heart. I've been lucky enough to interview one of the actors in the movie on the show and stuff, and I just love that movie, and I'm glad it's never going to be remade or rebooted because they got a legal strain on it, which I'm so glad.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a crush on anybody in movies other than Jonathan Taylor Thomas?
Gosh, I'm sure I have. I can't think of one at the top of my head right now. Honestly, most of my like artist crushes are on musical theater people or people that I see in like Broadway shows. So, um,
I know the names of Broadway actors.
yeah. So like, I just saw the new Moulin Rouge musical in Boston before I left the East Coast
Mm-hmm.
summer, and Aaron Tveit was in it. He was also in the film version Les Mis.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just such a stunning performer. His voice is just so beautiful, and I love his work. So I would say that's probably my most recent like artistic crush.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever have a crush on Nathan Lane?
I can't say that I've ever had a crush on Nathan Lane, but I admire his work very much.
Yeah, he's a good actor. Yeah. Oh my God, there's too many actresses for me to name that I've had crushes on. It's pretty crazy and stuff. I'm a guy who respects a woman's beauty. I'm a guy who's a great admirer of a woman's beauty, and so like it's very easy for me to fall in love with an actress.
Yeah, no, I can understand that. Is there a favorite?
Let me think. Let me think. Let me think. Well, Leah Thompson, Back to the Future, always liked her. When I met her, I took a photo op with her. It's on my wall. God, I almost fainted.
Uh, I do love those moments when you meet your idols. It's just so inspiring.
Oh yeah, I go to conventions and I meet so many of them, get pictures and autographs from them. They come on the show. Some of them I've interviewed multiple times, and they're just great people, very humble, because they're not famous anymore really, and they're just they appreciate the fans who have been supportive of them over the past 30 years or so. And
Sure.
I've yeah, I mean, I've had great experiences with almost all of them. I haven't really had that bad of experiences with them. There's been a couple that were kind of a twat to me, but other than that, nothing like major. And yeah, I mean, I'm going to Comic Con tomorrow, and they got the 30th anniversary of Who Framed Roger Rabbit there. I'm excited about that. And
That's pretty cool. I remember that movie. I remember loving that very much.
oh yeah, I watched it the other night. I'm gonna watch it again probably later. And I'm actually going to be in the Bay Area for 7 days next week. I'm going to a Comic Con in Santa Clara over by Great America, and there's going to be a lot of like voiceover cartoon people there and stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Is that your vacation?
yeah, it's one of two, and then in a couple of weeks I'll be staying at my friend's place in San Francisco, and I'm going to a screening of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory because I interviewed one of the kids from the movie this summer, and that's going to be fun.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, I'm so lucky doing all that stuff. So are there any plays you're working on now?
Yes, actually, I'm in pre-production for a musical called The Spitfire Grill,
Mm-hmm.
and I start rehearsals for that on the 21st, I believe.
Wow, that's great. Is What kind of part are you gonna play?
I'm the director.
Nice, nice. Is this your first time?
Oh no, my first time directing?
Yeah.
No. I've been directing. Oh, since 2009.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't really been performing that much anymore. I'm more focusing on being a director.
Mm-hmm. So you're gonna be directing this play, and how long is it gonna take to prepare it?
Well, we have 7 weeks of rehearsal, including tech week.
Mm-hmm. Oh God, I remember tech so well from high school. Oh my God, yeah, Sunday tech was torture. I mean, we'd get there at 11 o'clock in the morning, maybe earlier, and we would just do the play like 3 times in one day, and it was just tedious and horrendous because I had to hear the same songs over and over again. And the only thing I did like was the catered dinner we had. Oh my God, we had like a buffet of like anything you wanted. That was the only thing I loved about Sunday Tech.
Yeah, that's a reality of my job every time I do a show. I don't mind it. I actually really love tech.
Hmm. It was always my least favorite thing, but I just loved the food that we had.
Yeah, I love seeing everything come together.
Hmm. Oh my God, I was an extra in a music video in San Francisco a couple of years ago, and for we had like a half-hour lunch. They had like 25 pizzas they had delivered. They were like New York style pizzas, and oh, they were so good, and there was so much left over that literally every single one of us took some home.
Yeah, we don't typically do a lot of catered meals
Hmm.
here. That is definitely more of a film thing.
Yeah, it's just oh god, it's there's nothing like being on a movie a film set or a theatrical set, and there's just all this magic and intensity of creating this art, and then when it's time to eat, you get good food.
Absolutely.
There's just nothing like that. Did you know that I paint my toenails?
Great.
Yeah, I have them purple right now.
That's awesome.
What color do you have?
Um, Currently my toenails are not painted.
Oh, what colors do you usually use?
Um, Gosh, I don't know. Everything, really.
You don't have a preference?
Um, well, one of my favorite colors is like a coral color, which is like a pinky orange. So, but I don't do one over the other all the time.
Hmm. Yeah, I started painting my toenails when I was 13, and I think it's because I spent a lot of time with my mom and my grandma in my really early years because my dad worked graveyard shift. I only saw him on the weekends during those years and stuff, so I picked up a lot of habits from them, and I think that painting my toenails was one of them.
Great. I'm all for that.
Hmm. Yeah, it just I love it. I used to get pedicures like 10 years ago and stuff, and then I had fungus in my big toe. Um, I guess they didn't sterilize their instruments or whatever, and so I had to go to a podiatrist. Is that how you pronounced it?
I think so.
Podiatrist, yeah, something like that. And I had it all removed and stuff, so that I just do it myself, so that doesn't happen again.
Absolutely.
Do you like to go to the salon and get them done?
Oh, sure, but it's just too expensive for me at this point.
Yeah, it's it seems like the prices are going up every year, like that. Like when I was doing it, I paid like maybe $30 every time plus tip.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an expensive habit.
There's so many expensive habits, like the fact that I love to go to these conventions and get autographs and selfies. That's a very expensive habit in and of itself. Back in the 80s and 90s, autographs and selfies were free at conventions. And then once the sports people, the athletes, they started charging for autographs and stuff, then it got around and the celebrities started doing it.
Okay, you have to pay for it, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, when they first started doing that, they were like anywhere between $10 and $20, and some of them still are $20. But now they're just getting higher and higher, 50, 60, some people 80, and that's just insane, you know, because 10% of that money goes to their agent,
Yes.
and they don't pay each celebrity a whole lot of money when they put on these conventions now and stuff. It's really crazy. And plus, when eBay came out, um, a lot of guys were going to conventions, getting celebrities to sign their name on certain things, and then they were like selling them on eBay. And then once that started, that's when I think everybody decided that they were going to start charging people.
Right.
Yeah, it got to the point where I guess they couldn't trust their fans anymore or something. And that's really sad. Like I had this one celebrity friend. She went to Dallas, Texas last year, and her agent was late meeting her, and so this guy came and he pretended that he was a friend of her agent and that they had to wait, and then he asked her if she would sign these 15 items that he had, and she said sure. And then after she was done, then the agent showed up, and then he took everything and ran that guy. And then she found out um, through somebody that he had an eBay account and he was selling it on eBay and stuff. So she outed him on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate that people take advantage of those situations.
Yeah, what a jerk, huh? I would never do that to anybody. I keep everything that I get signed. I'm starting a collection.
Very cool, very cool.
Yes. I was curious, Roberta, what nationality are you?
Well, I'm white.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually know what my heritage is. So that's something that I have on my list to do, like do one of those 23andMe situations, but unfortunately they're just so expensive, so I haven't gotten around to it yet.
Mm-hmm. So you don't know what you are at all other than white?
Currently, that is what I got. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because we just did a family tree thing on my dad's side of the family and stuff. We've always known that on his side it's Croatian and Irish and Cherokee Indian and stuff, but he also found out there might be a little bit of German in the family too, but it's not 100% sure and stuff.
But very, very cool. I think knowing about that heritage stuff is very unique and interesting. That's not something that my family ever invested time or energy in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was just so curious though because you're so pretty and your smile lights up a room.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I was just curious that way and stuff. But were you raised Catholic?
No, I was not raised religious at all.
They don't have any. There's no religious in your family though.
I'm sure people who are or were religious, but that was not something that was a priority for us growing up.
I see. I see. Well, I hope that show that you're doing goes well and stuff, and it'll be a good experience for you out there
Thank you.
since you're relatively new out there, and you should you should do very well with it. I think you will.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes, thank you so much, Roberta. Let's do this again sometime.
Great. Yeah. Good luck with the rest of your recordings of the podcast, and I look forward to hearing this.
Oh, thank you. You have fun out there in Memphis, and stay cool in the heat.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Roberta Inscho. Ain't she a sweetheart? Thank you so much, Roberta. That was a really nice conversation we had about the theater. You're very fascinating. It was a lot of fun. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past because the present sucks. Later, dudes.